this to a situation that, clearly, we need some answers about, what happened to this sister because she was found hanging from a tree. Now, anytime we see any type of historical, means of execution and this is one of those instances where lynching and hanging was one of the means by which white people could demonstrate, capital punishment on black people in America. Just like, just recently, this Chinese boy, set this damn cross on fire and shit. And, the historical significance of that, even though he lied, but he was charged with a hate crime, he was actually sending a message to black people. That you're looking for the deepest scars and wounds because being upset, with black people about, economic moves that were being made. And so, a lot of people's is up in arms about the Carmelo Anthony, the Austin Metcalf. You got a lot of Neanderthals that have openly come on social media discussing hanging people from trees, just like this weak ass what's the wife Jake Lang, who called for Carmelo Anthony to be hung from a tree. So this sister was found hanging. She's 27 years old. She was from Michigan. I don't know exactly what city she was from because this is just getting out here. It's just getting out here. But she was found in Gwen Cherry Park, Miami-Dade. That's a long way to go to commit suicide. They trying to say that it could be suicide. That's a long way to go to commit suicide. You could commit suicide right there. If you that damn depressed to commit suicide, you gonna travel damn near, 1,000 miles to commit suicide. You know what I'm saying? Black power. That don't make no sense. So anytime, and there's been a lot of hangings that's been, happening. And black people, I know people, you cannot rule out people, committing suicide because people do commit suicide. But hanging, something that has been notorious for white people as a form of capital punishment on black people, you have to look at that and say, hey, we need to look into this. And the fact that it has not gotten any, and it's on Juneteenth. It's on Juneteenth. Now, I do know, because I know the Neanderthal. I know him. It is certain holidays where, yes, they do perform sacrifice. They perform sacrifices, and to send a message, you know what I'm saying? That, this is how we feel about you. This is how we feel about you. And so, with all of this heightened racial spewing of hate out there at this time by Caucasoids, you most definitely have to look into everything and be on your P's and Q's. Because they are still hanging niggas. That's a fact. That's a fact. They're still hanging black folk. That's a fact. Ain't nothing changed, so you most definitely got to look in it. So the first thing, every time, just like they found, I think it was a brother. They found him at the college. He was hanging from a tree, and I'm thinking I got to see this because to get what kind of tree was this? You know what I'm saying? It takes a lot, to do something like, you know what I'm saying? I have to see this. It takes a lot, for somebody, to get up and put a rope around your neck and shit. And, I'm thinking to myself like, wow, that's a lot of work for somebody that's depressed and that want to take their life. That's a lot of work. Most motherfuckers just gonna take some pills and just take them and go on to sleep. You know what I'm saying? You gonna do all that. You gonna choke yourself, and that's a very painful death. That's that's a painful death. Let me get you on about here. Yeah, that's a very painful death to do something like that. So, most people are not going to, they're not going to put themselves in no pain, and then some people, but that's a lot of work. That's a lot of work to put a rope up. Then you got to make sure you lift it up off the ground, and then you got to throw the rope over the branch, and that's a lot of work. That's a lot of work to do that. So we most definitely looking for Dade County to explain how this is possible, and we really need. I know the families say they really looking for answers because they just don't believe that. But there's cameras, there should be cameras available, they video everything. When it's time to incriminate your ass, you know, where they found her was behind a closed off area. Okay. Yeah, I don't see nobody hanging. Yeah. Yeah. You know what? A lot of people's out there. What we do know that this is a historical and Neanderthals. I mean, they just love to commit this type of these is vicious people. You see what I'm saying? These is vicious people. You don't know. You don't know what these neon they do these type of and the thing is if you take your eye off the ball, they want you to all of a sudden believe that all white people just got good. They wouldn't do nothing like this, even though they got a history of documented by their own hand that they have lynched in America thousands of black people, thousands legally, and to them they'll say we have some legal hangings too because they were actually found guilty in a court of law. So we hung. So you got the ones where they illegally hung black people, and then you got legal hangings. So we don't hang people. You never heard of nobody hanging nobody in no damn Africa. That just they didn't hang. We never heard of hangings until we got here. And so when we call these Neanderthals out on shit that they historically have done, all of a sudden, all the Neanderthals is just good little Neanderthals now. They all just good. They just miraculously got good. You know what I'm saying? Wow. You know what I'm saying? Wow, just little good little cave men and cave women. Yeah, so you don't fall for none of that bullshit out there. They just as nasty as they want to be, just as trifling as they want to be. You know what I'm saying? And more nasty today than they've ever been. Because today they know they losing. And when you lose and you become erratic. You become erratic. That means now you're gonna try to do anything you can to reclaim power that's like sand falling through your hands. And so they gonna be more erratic today than they ever been. They're gonna be more erratic today than they ever been, and you're gonna see a lot of this shit become even more prevalent in the upcoming weeks, upcoming days, upcoming months. The more that power start to, slip through their hands, they're just like that shit. And all of this is relevant, just like that shit that just happened over there in Iran. They done tapped out. They tapped out. You look like you didn't ran. Look like you didn't turn around and ran. No matter what you say, you didn't took an L. So it's showing that white peoples is losing power on the planet. The mystique of you thinking, oh, just saying we got the greatest military. Well, that's just talk. Now that you done went over there and played your hand, and it show you ain't as powerful, and so now they gonna become erratic. They gonna become erratic. Anything and everything that they could do to try to see, they gonna try to come back from that. They're gonna try, so they're gonna be even more erratic. The people's here, Austin Metcalf, they want revenge. And that's why I keep telling y'all can't be out here by yourself. And they want to know who she went in that park with. Did she go by herself? Man, I mean, does she have any history down there? How would she know to go to that park? Does she have any history down there? To go somewhere you never been before and go to a park that you've never been to before and do this? That we need answers. You know what I'm saying? I think that yes, ultimately I do believe, what I'm saying. In the first, early on in that war, I did believe that that they was gonna be the United States that they normally, but I knew that if they didn't go on the ground, that they was gonna lose. That much I knew. You see what I'm saying? That I clearly stated that if they didn't go in on the ground, it was no way that they was gonna beat Iran, and ultimately that's what it turned out to be. You understand what I'm saying? So if they wasn't ready to go all the way in to do that, that wasn't gonna happen. You see, I clearly stated that. And so obviously they didn't have the wherewithal to go in there, and so they took a L. They did. They took a L. They most definitely took a L. But anyway, yeah, it's not over, but you supposed to be, and we'll talk about that later. We want to keep the emphasis on this sister right here who has been found, uh, but at the same time, you got cracks in your armor. You got cracks in your armor. You know what I'm saying? Because you're not supposed to be letting nobody that's beneath you regulate shit like they regulating at this time. No, it's not over. But you understand? It's not looking good. I can tell you that. And a lot of people feel the same way. Anyway, family, we going to stay on this case. We're not going to, it's a lot of things. Lil Cohen, Wiley. We got this sister right here. Her name is Tonea, Nicole Miller. We got Cohen, Wiley, little 1 year old Cohen. We got Carmelo Anthony. We got Cyrus. We got a lot of things going, and we need to keep our eyes on everything that's happening because these white supremacists is out here and they want revenge, and they have openly said that they want revenge. And hanging has been one of those where what's his name? What's this demon they just let out? He said he was gonna hang Carmelo Anthony. Say he should be hanging from a tree. That's what he said. So I mean, when you vocally hear people, spew this type of racial hate, you most definitely got to look at all things in contrast. You know what I'm saying? Up under the microscope to get to the truth of the matter. Because if we find out you Neanderthals is out here open, it's open season on black folk, and you gonna do whatever the fuck you wanna do, you gonna take a L here. You think goddamn Iran gonna give your ass an L. You gonna take a motherfucking L here. Do you understand what I'm saying? Listen to me when I tell you, But anyway, family, click that link down there in the video description. Patreon General SETI. Make sure you support, and I'll be black later. See you in a minute. Black Power. Jeff Lang. Yeah, that's his ass. Jeff Lang. The motherfucking wicked Neanderthal. All right, Black Power.